Hey everybody, it's Brenda Santos with Menson Studios. Today I'm going to walk you through a tutorial on how to do yard sign letters in Adobe Illustrator. If you haven't used Illustrator before, don't worry. It may seem a little intimidating, but I'm going to walk you through step by step, so I gotcha. All right. If you're new to my channel, thank you so much for stopping by. And if you could do me a favor and please subscribe to my channel. Also give this video a thumbs up if you find it helpful. And also click the bell button so you know whenever we update our content. And if you are returning, thank you so much for coming back. I hope you're getting a lot out of this channel, and I love teaching you guys. All right, I know you guys are anxious to go get started, so let's go. Okay, guys, like I mentioned, we're going to be walking through step by step how to do yard sign letters here in Adobe Illustrator. But first, so you can kind of see what we're doing. This is actually a sign that we did this past weekend. It's got the little dump truck, and we are going to go over a dump truck graphic and how to make that. Also, I'm going to show you how to do these letters. And this is a sweet family, again, that we did. They did a combo birthday. They did this little Among Us character, which right now is super popular. And as you can see, our signs are really big. And that's kind of what we pride ourselves on, set ourselves apart, because our yard signs are really big and bold, and people love them. All right, so now let's get into Adobe Illustrator. Now, what we're going to be doing, for those of you that have never used Illustrator before, we're going to be using an artboard. And basically what it is if you took a table and you set a piece of artboard down on that table. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be building on top of that. So we're going to be putting layer after layer after layer until we kind of get the shape that we want. All right. So we're going to take our text tool. Before I start, let me back up. My artboard is actually set up to, let me show you. So if you go to this document setup button and you click it, you can do a couple of things. Right here, you can change your units. I like to work in inches. If you like to work in pixels, points, picas, millimeters, centimeters, basically you set it to whatever units you're most comfortable designing in. If you click here, you can edit your artboard. And basically what it lets you do is it lets you change the size of your artboard. Currently, I am doing a 24.25 by 30.5, and I'm actually going to change the size of that. I'm going to do 24 and a half by 30.75, and I want that big enough to accommodate my yard sign letter, and so I've just changed that. And if you see it changed the size of that, and then you can just click this selection tool and it will get back to where we can actually start building on this artboard. If you need to change that again, of course, you can always go to document setup, but there's also, if you just need to change the size of the artboard, there is an artboard tool over here on the left-hand side. You can click that and it will give you the dimensions again of your artboard. Okay, you can always click on the selection tool and then it will bring you back to this. Okay, so we're going to pick a font, or you can pick a font that is bold and will show up in the yard. So you don't want to pick a font that's really skinny or curvy and hard to read, because when you're going when you're driving by, you want to make sure that it's easy to see. So right now I have it to where we can type text out. I'm going to again to the type tool. Select this text. I'm going to do a capital letter. And right here, you see you can stretch this out. But if I double click it, you can still select it and type it. So what we want to do is we want to change this to be a curve. And the way you do that is you come over here to type and you do create outline. And what that does is it makes it a shape instead of a font or a text. Okay? So I'm going to resize my letter to 23 3/4. What's my, by 30. Had to look at my notes there for a second. Okay, and so this is the size of our letter. Now at this point you can change your color. You've got your colors and your swatches over here. Let's just grab this blue and we're going to do that. Okay, so now that we have our letter, now we want to make like an outside border, because if we come back here, you can see this letter B has, of course, the main color is red, and then there's like a black outline, and then there's a white outline. And I do a white outline because it helps when I'm cutting, and it just gives me more of a tolerance, and it makes it kind of makes the letter stand out in the yard. I like it. Some people don't. Of course, this is your design. You design it however you want to. I'm just going to show you how to make the borders. Okay, so now that we've created our outline, we're going to come over here. We're going to select it again. We still have the direct selection tool or the selection tool. We're going to come over to object. We're going to go to path, offset path. I like to set mine to 3/4 of an inch at this size. And as you can see, it made kind of a layer underneath the B. It put another layer on top. It just made it bigger. And what it does, it's going to group those together. So if you ungroup, you can right click, you can ungroup. I like to do my outlines in black. So we're going to change the fill on this. You're going to make sure that this fill box is selected or on top. And then you're going to pick a color. I'm going to do in black just so it's nice and easy to see. Okay. So now that we have that done, now we want to make a cut border. And what that is I make like a white, like I said, a white edge around, but then I have a really fine stroke where I know to use my knife to go and cut on the coroplast. And so what I'm going to do is, since it's we've ungrouped it, we're going to select this back layer again. I'm going to do object, path, offset path. And this time I'm only going to do 1/2 inch. Okay. Doesn't look like it did anything, but again, if you hover over, do you see how we've got our original B, then we've got that one that we did last time, and then now the outside stroke. Okay, so it's still black. Again, you can leave it like this if you like and just trim around the outside, or you can come over here and these are your colors. So it's going to show you your fill and your stroke color. And do you see these little arrows right here? You're going to flip it. And so what it's going to do is it's going to make this kind of transparent. And since you're printing on white, obviously that border is going to be white. The last little thing I like to do is you want to make sure that when you select it, you want to make sure that your stroke box is activated. So your stroke, and you're in your stroke when you have, it's like a square, but then it's got another square cut out. I like to come over here and I like to make it a light gray. And the reason I do that is because if I'm trimming and I miss it, it's not going to be really noticeable, especially when you're viewing it from far away in the yard. Again, do what you want, do what you like, but this just kind of hides some of the imperfections when we're doing some cutting, since they are kind of hand cut. Okay, so now that's kind of your basic letter, right? So now what we're going to do is if you click and drag over here, it's going to select everything. Of course, because we added 3/4 of an inch and then we added another 1/2 inch for the cuts, our letter is no longer 23 3/4 by 30. So what I do is I come back and I change it back to the original dimensions. Oop, move that over. So there you go. So now that makes our letter the original size that it was. You have your inside stroke, your inside fill, then you have your black border, and then you have your transparent border with the very fine stroke on the outside, and that's actually what you're going to use to cut. So I'm going to link it below, but I do have another video that walks you through step by step how to cut the letters, how to mount them. It is using a hot knife, which means it's basically like an X-Acto blade that gets really hot because it's plugged in to the wall, so it has electricity. That's helpful when you're first starting out. It does take more time because you're doing precise cuts. As you get used to it and you get more comfortable, you can use a box cutter, and you can really cut those really quickly, and it doesn't take any time at all because what we mount them on is coroplast, and it's really easy to cut. Okay, so the last step that I do is, because I use a solvent printer, it's a Roland VersaCAM printer. It basically is making me large sheets of stickers. So I like to have it in a rectangle form. If you want to cut out the bee, you can, and then cut it on your coroplast. I just find it easier to have it in a rectangle because it's easier to mount. You don't have like little shapes because the bee's not that big of a deal, but when you're doing things like S's and things like that, it can get a little tricky because your mounter or your squeegee kind of gets under those curves and it makes it a little more difficult. So what I do is now since my cut box is 24 inches by 30 1/4, I'm going to come over here to this rectangle tool and I'm going to click because it's got the little crosshairs. If you click, you can actually put your size in. So let's do 24 1/4 by 30 1/2. And what that's going to do is it's going to make me a cut box. Again, like we did before, since it's got the fill color is black, I don't want that. And if you come over here to your fill and your stroke, you can flip this. And then of course, now your stroke, make sure your stroke is on top. I'm going to change that to gray again because I want to cut it. And then with this, when it comes off the machine, I actually just use scissors to cut it into the rough triangle because really it's just kind of a guide for me to lay it down on the coroplast. So it doesn't really matter if it's precise cut. But you can set this up if you want to do like a perf cut on your solvent printer, your print and cut machines, you can. This, you would just have to program that this line is recognizable in your machine to perf cut or do an actual cut. So, but again, for now, I'm only using light gray because I just basically want a guide for my reference. So the easiest way to do this would be to select everything. Oops, sorry. Let's make sure that this B, because I don't remember if I grouped it or not. So let's go back. I'm going to select everything just to be, not this square, and I'm going to right click and I'm going to make sure that it is grouped. And it looks like it probably is. Let me scoot this out of the way. Yep. And then you can also go to, oh, no, it's not. So let's go here. I don't know why that's not coming up. So if you don't get it when you right click, for some reason it's not popping up. I don't see the group here. Am I just blind? Nope, not popping up. Okay, so if you select everything, you come to object and right here it's group. Or if you can do like a Command G on a Mac, and I think it is Control G on a Windows computer. So forgive me if I'm wrong, but I think it is Control G on a Windows computer. So what we're going to do is we're going to select, now this becomes kind of one group. I'm going to select the little rectangle box. I'm going to come over here to my Align menu, and we're going to align it to the artboard. And you go right here on the bottom right, it says Align to Artboard, and we're going to do it horizontally and vertically. And so what that does, if I zoom in, you're going to see it gives me my color, my outline, my cut border, and then my rectangle border. And really, that's all there is to cutting your letters out. It's super easy. You basically will follow these steps to make whatever it is that you want to do. You do want to keep all your letters individually. I would not recommend doing them all in one sentence and then grouping them because you definitely want them to be their own shape so you can change the sizes and things like that. Okay, so that's step one. To get your yard sign letters. Now, if you don't want to go through the hassle of doing that, I do have a template that I do sell. It's basically got all of your letters and your numbers and some of your common symbols that you're going to use. Basically, it's got your measurements here. So basically what you're going to do is, let's say you want to do happy, right? So we've got this set up in this font. See how it's already ungrouped for you? All you're going to do is you're going to come over here and let's say you want to make a green, sorry, I did stroke. So let's say you want to do this and you want to make it a green H. All you have to do is select it, come over, and you can do that. So if you wanted to do happy holidays, basically you can change that to any color. Okay, let's say you want your stroke to be a different color. So you want to do a tone on tone. So let's do like a dark, okay? You can do that as well. So then now you've got that color. Let's say you want to make the eye a different color, we can come over here. Let's do a pink eye. You can change your stroke to, let's do purple. So you basically can do any color combination you want. This is using my templates. Again, don't have to buy it, but it does save you some time if you like this font, and it's all set up, ready to go. Each is on an individual board. So I will put a link on that on the website and in this video in case you want to go and purchase that. All right, moving on. So now we're going to go to making that little dump truck like I showed you in that picture right here. Again, you can determine whatever size works best for you and your business. I'm going to just highlight this dump truck. I don't even know what size it is right now. So it's 20 inches by 17. I'm going to change the size of that, and the way you can determine your size is you're going to go over here to the transform button and you click on that. Now if you don't have any one of these kind of menus, you can come up to window and you can find all of your menus here, and they will be checked, so all the ones that are over here in this toolbar and that are active. So like, let's say I want to do some alignment, I go back and check that toolbar, or that check mark next to align, and it pops up. If I come over here and I come over to, what was it, properties, I think, yeah, it's going to pop it up here. If I come over here and I do so was it, I always do the shortcut so I never know. Yeah, it's transform. If I come over here to transform, you're going to see that the check mark is by there. So yeah, so that's going to show you where all of your side menus are. I have mine set up to where I use these all the time, so I've kind of got them all set up so that way they're easy to access. Because if you're like me designing, you want to be quick and move along, so you're not hunting around for a bunch of things. You want to learn shortcuts, so because time is money, right? So, alrighty, so dump truck. Let me see. So we've got, again, I said 20 inches wide by 17 inches tall, 17-ish tall. So let's change that to, oh, I don't know, let's do 36. All right. Again, it's totally your preference when you come to the little accent pieces. You can do little stars, you can do all sorts of things. You can make them smaller, you can make them bigger. I'm going to size this to 36 inches. Now I do like to work in round numbers, so I am going to, and I'm actually going to group this because I want to make sure, yeah, it's already grouped. I want to make sure that none of these little pieces kind of get moved around. All right, so I'm going to unlink this. Basically, this constrains your proportions. So let me show you real quick. So as you saw a minute ago, I changed that to 36. So let's say if I change that to 10, it's going to change it proportionally, right? So it's about 8.5. So let's go back to 36. I'm going to unlink this because I do like to work in even numbers. Just because when I'm measuring out my coroplast, it just makes it easier, because if you have 30 inches as opposed to 30 1/8, because you want to make sure you're not cutting stuff off, it's just makes my world a lot easier. For you, it may not matter, but for me, that's the way I do it. Okay. So now we've got it. I'm going to go ahead and go back and check the constraint again, because then now I want it to be this proportion. All right, so our basic concept of what we did with the letter that I just showed you how to do. So basically, it's just going to be one added step. So you're going to take your dump truck. I've already got it grouped. So now you're going to make a copy of it. You can do your standard, let me see, I was right click. I don't do it this way, so forgive me. So you can come here, you can go to File, I think it's Edit. You know, edit copy, and then you can go to, and then paste again. The way I do it, again, because I love shortcuts, is if you click on your dump truck and then you hold your Option key down in a Mac, you see those two little double arrows when you hover over. If you come outside here, it goes away, but if you're hovering on the actual image, do you see those double arrows? That means you can make a copy, you can duplicate it. So if I click and drag over, it's going to make me another copy. If I hold it and click another one, it's going to make me another copy. Okay. And the reason I'm doing that is, and I'm going to zoom out so I can show you. over here, is what we're going to do is we're going to flatten this, because if I ungroup, I'm going to show you it, like I said, all the little pieces come apart. And when we do like an offset path, sometimes it gets a little wonky and it tries to get all those little pieces and make paths outside of those, and sometimes your shape is all weird. So what I do is I make sure that it's all selected, and I'm going to come over here to our Pathfinder. We're going to click on our Pathfinder menu, and what you're going to do is you're going to click on Unite, and it's going to make a single shape. Now sometimes when you unite, it will make like these little things. Right now I would not worry about all these little nodes, because that's not going to matter, but what you want to do is kind of make it like the basic shape. So now what we're going to do is we're going to click the united shape. So basically what it did is it squashed all those little bits that were all layered in the complex object, and it made it one flat piece like a pancake, right? So we're going to select this, and then we're going to select our original dump truck. Okay, so all I did was shift click this, and then I shift click this. Now I let shift go, and if you click the dump truck again, it's going to make it like outlined in blue. And what that means is it's going to make that your main image. So anything that you've selected is going to be aligned to the dump truck. So this is your main image. Now if I went backwards, let's say I did this, and then I clicked this again, see how that it would align the dump truck to the outline shape, but we're going to do it this way. Okay, so now we're going to go to our align tool. Again, if you need to do that, you can go to window here, and I'm going to align vertically and horizontally. So basically what it did is it put that squashed down version of the dump truck on top, and we're going to use this to make our outline stroke. So I'm selecting just the top one, and the way you do it is just click on top, and I'm going to go to Object, Path, Offset Path, just like we did before. This time I am going to stick with a 1/2 inch. I'm going to click OK. Sometimes it groups them together, sometimes it doesn't, so you just kind of have to play around with it and look. So once it's grouped it around, I'm going to take this and I'm going to scoot that. That's the smaller version. That's the original version of the flattened dump truck. I'm going to delete that. Okay, now we're left with the kind of the bigger, the outline of the dump truck, right? Because it made it bigger. We're going to go back to our fill and our stroke, and we're going to flip it again. That's those little arrows. You're going to flip it, and you're going to see that when I zoom in, there's an outline around the truck. Okay, so it's going to be around the tires and all of that. Okay, so this is a good little thing to see. Do you see where I was talking about like it does those little nooks and crannies? Sometimes that happens. So the way to fix this is you can go to your direct selection tool, select here. You're going to go to View, Outline. What this is going to do, it's going to show you all the little nodes that are kind of stuck in there. And what you're going to do is you're going to find that. You're going to come over here to your direct selection tool, and you're going to take it and you're just going to highlight that. And what you do is you click on, do you see these little boxes? Those are called nodes. So if you, now this is important, use your direct selection tool. You're going to click on this node, and all you're going to do is delete. And then you're going to click this, and then you hit delete and delete again. And what that did was, remember that little box, that little triangle that was there? Now that's gone. So now we're going to do this little triangle right here, right? So we're going to go View, Outline, and do you see it right here? That's it. You're going to go Direct Selection Tool. Now if it's small like this, you can take it and you can click and drag, and it's going to select those, and then you can hit delete. If we go to Preview again, it's going to show you that's gone. Okay? You can use that to do things like right here, like if you don't want to cut out space here, you can delete that. But otherwise, that's really all you have to do. I told you I like to change my stuff to gray. This light yellow is a nice color because it's, you know, not as bright, and if you're cutting, it's not going to be visible if you miss it. But again, I'm going to come over here to my path just because I like them all to be consistent. I'm going to come in and I'm going to select light gray, and you've got your outline for your dump truck. So then now all you do is we're going to make a box. Now I did show you how, if you know your dimensions and you wanted to make that, like, so let's say we wanted to do that same size for that we did for the letter, we can do that. And the way I did that again was I went here to the rectangle tool and I just clicked, and it'll bring you some dimensions. If you don't really know what it is, you can actually use your rectangle tool and you can draw a rectangle around. And you can come in and let's say you really want it to be close. So all I did was, now I'm just going to the selection tool, so you see it's right there. Now all I'm going to do is take this and I'm going to bring it in closer. Because again, you want that, because you don't want to waste a whole lot of paper, right? Okay, again, preference, however big you want to make that is up to you. Now getting back to your artboard, right? So let's see how big this. So again, if you click and drag all of it and you come over to transform, it is going to tell you how big that is. So it's about 38 inches. So yeah, I can't stand to have off, so I'm going to do 38. Let me undo this. So 38 by, make sure I'm not hitting anything. 38, let's do 30. Let's do 32 because it's, oh, let's do 31, see what happens. And you just want to make sure, oh, see, do you see how I did that? You just want to make sure that that doesn't happen, because that will print and it will actually show up on your print, and that's not good. So let's go to 31 and a half, see what happens. Oh, what'd I do? Oh, I made 200. So 30, let's do 31. Was it 31.1? Let's do 31.2, see what happens. Nope, let's go. Oh my goodness. Should have just left it alone. All right, so I was just trying to show you guys that you could make your stuff as big as you want it, and you can click and drag around and stuff. Okay, so that makes it a nice little outline really close to the artwork. Okay, on my particular what is it called? Printer, it will take the size of the artboard and use that for where it cuts off for the next image. So meaning, like, instead of it just trimming around here, you know, like let's say we're going here, it's going to trim off here. It will actually try to use this whole artboard, and so that's going to waste a lot of paper. And people that work with me know that I hate to waste paper. It's just like burning money for me. So I try to use every little bit of area that I can, right? So let me show you something really quick that I wasn't planning on showing you, but so if you come over here and you want to put like a shape in there, let's say you wanted to make some shapes, right? So you needed a square, right? You can make a shape of a square. You can actually print this inside here and use this negative space, and that will print, and then you can cut that out on your coroplast. So let's say you needed like a little period or something in your sentence, you could make like a square, or you could put another shape in there that's kind of small. You just want to make sure that it's within this rectangle but not touching the dump truck, and that will utilize your space and maximize it, and you're not cutting off all this negative space and wasting paper. So that's kind of where I was going with that. But yeah, so that's basically how you do the dump truck. So guys, that's how I do my yard sign letters and my shapes for my yard signs in Adobe Illustrator. Super easy. I love using Illustrator because I can export it and save it in the version that I need for my particular printer. So I hope this helps somebody. Thank you for watching this tutorial, and give me some feedback in the comments. Let me know if there's anything else you'd like to know, if there's any questions that you have on this tutorial. I am always happy to answer. I am new to YouTube, so please bear with me if I don't get back to you right away, because I am still trying to figure out how to sort through the comments to make sure that I get to everybody, but I usually try to answer as quickly as I can. I also have my contact information. Drop me an email. If you have any questions, always happy to share, because it is a huge world and we can't possibly do signs and shirts and stuff for every single person. So we need to spread the wealth, support each other in business, and just be a kind person. All right, again, You guys, thanks for watching, and please, please, if you haven't done so, subscribe to my channel. Hit the thumbs up button because it does help me find you guys and you find me. And then hit the little bell button so that way you know whenever I upload new videos. And again, if you are a current subscriber, I thank you, love you guys. So you guys have a wonderful day and be kind and share your knowledge. All right, talk to y'all soon. Bye.